Going on, everybody? You tuned in to another edition of our No Time for Talk, Dish Time for Action podcast. I got a special guest here who's going to give us some insight into PTSD. Before we do that, everybody, if you can go ahead and subscribe, like this video, share this video. We're doing what we can to get good veteran resources out there to the veteran community. Put these resource videos in your back pocket. Save them because you never know what veteran you might come across that needs them. So with that out of the way, without further ado, sir, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Scott Clark. I'd like to thank you, Marcus, for having me on today. I am with an organization called His Venture, and I'm with the military arm of that organization. And what we do is help veterans with combat trauma issues, PTS, TBI related issues. We not only help the veterans, we help their families. We're not just focused on combat trauma, although that is our specialty. That's one of the manuals we use is called the Combat Trauma Healing Manual. Although all military service tends to have some trauma related with it. The average Joe out there can be traumatized from just doing a 4-year stint in the military. There's a lot of traumatizing events. It doesn't have to be combat. So we recognize that, and we appreciate the service that everybody's given to our nation and to each other in this endeavor. To that effect, what we end up doing is having groups that meet weekly. There are currently about 8 or 9 here in Arizona. We have groups in Tucson, the west part of the Valley of Phoenix, Payson, Prescott, and we're working on a group in Maricopa right now, and then another one in Prescott that's going to start up, Chino Valley area. But like I said, they meet weekly. What we do is we go over Christ-centered healing for combat trauma. That does not limit people to being Christian to go to these groups. The groups have had Muslims, Baha'i, Buddhists, Jews, agnostics. You do not have to be a Christ follower to attend this group, and everybody that has attended has sang praises about the help that they get, because as you may or may not know, combat trauma and military trauma is something that causes you to isolate, self-isolate, self-medicate, do all kinds of bad things to yourself in the process. And one of the big things that we get out of this is fellowship. It's like being back in the service almost, in the way of camaraderie, just helping each other, the attitude of service towards our fellow veterans. And we also include first responders into these groups as well, so that we recognize they're serving their country as well, serving the communities, and we appreciate that. So many sheriff's deputies, police officers, doctors, nurses, EMT trained individuals have come into these groups and found healing from the process. This is the Combat Trauma Healing Manual that we use. It's a book put together by Crew Ministry, which used to be Campus Crusade for Christ. And then we also have the spouse version of the book, When War Comes Home. So spouse groups meet throughout the valley here to help out veterans and their loved ones dealing with issues related to military trauma. One of the things we also use in these groups is Zoom, the platform that we're on right now. We have a brick and mortar where people come in and sit down and participate in a group, but at the same time, we'll put Zoom up on a big screen or even just have it on a laptop computer so that people that are further away outside the state can come in and participate in the group as well. Several of the Payson and Prescott and Williams veterans that we have come in to the groups that way and participate in there. And it's just like having them at the table, except they can't enjoy the donuts and the coffee.
Right.
The free donuts and coffee is perfect. One of the things that we do is we do not charge people for books. These books cost about $20 each, but the individuals needing help don't get charged. We don't want a barrier between them and getting the help that they need through Christ to get healing for their trauma. So to that extent, we do ask for donations from others, not the actual veterans or their spouse or their family members or their first responders. The reason for that is we don't want any huge barriers there. We don't want to cause anybody to not get help because they have to pay some money.
Awesome. We'll also
I wanted to show you also the first responders manual. We have a first responder specific manual here. We have a group that meets here in Phoenix to go over this. This is the first responders healing manual. It's pretty much exactly like the combat trauma healing manual, except it includes scenarios that are first responder based instead of military based. How people can access these groups, pretty much calling me or sending me an email. My phone number is 602-885-8901. And I have my phone on 24/7, except when it gets funky and I have to restart it. So I'm available to chat and work through any questions anybody has. And then my email address is all one word, apachedriverscott@hotmail.com. That's APACHEDRIVER Scott SCOTT@hotmail.com. So getting a hold of me is the quickest way to get hooked up with the group if you are interested. Again, there's no charge for it, and we can hook you up with a Zoom group if you're further away than being close to one of the groups that you can attend in person. There's no paperwork involved. There's no paperwork trail. Anonymity is important because we don't want anybody to feel that they're being tracked or being, I don't know, paranoia kind of runs in the spectrum of PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't want anybody feeling that they're getting, somebody watching them or keeping track of them or going to make some comment about their attendance or anything like that. So hypervigilance is off the table at that point because everybody in the group is hypervigilant.
Yes.
And we're all kind of watching out for each other too. I started as an E1 in the Army. I did 27 years, mostly Army National Guard, about 8 active off and on for various purposes. I worked my way up through the ranks. I went to officer candidate school, started flying after officer candidate school, went to flight school with the Army and flew Apaches for about 20 years. Reverted to warrant officer so that I could keep flying in the Arizona Army National Guard. Awesome. And so I've done it all from E1 to E6, 01 to 03 and W1 and W2 before I got a little messed up in Afghanistan, got into a nasty helicopter crash when I was doing a combat search and rescue mission at midnight, and my night vision system and the Apache went out. So I'm 100% disabled from the VA and 80% from the Army. You'll find that that's another thing about our groups is that we have veteran service organizations, veteran service officers in those organizations that attend our group and help people with their VA claims, making sure that they're getting the benefits that they've earned. Not that necessarily that, you know, somebody owes them anything, but they've actually earned these benefits. It's not something that is an entitlement or anything like that. It's an earned thing, and we want to make sure people are getting help. One of the areas that we look at is we look at all different areas, but the main thing that we look at is the physical, mental, and spiritual aspect of combat trauma. The spiritual aspect is really important, and we feel it's the most important thing, but taking care of the physical and mental aspects also important. And without the three numbers, without the three key areas, it's like a 3-number combination lock. You're not going to get it open unless you have all 3 numbers. You're not going to get it open and find healing unless you have all 3 of these factors dealt with. So we recommend people get their physical issues taken care of. If that's with the VA, great. If it's not great, as long as they're getting it taken care of, along with the mental health issues. If that means that you're getting on some kind of medication, great, if that's what you need. If you don't want medications, that's fine, but maybe some counseling would be good. Again, with the VA is great. Without it is just equally as fine, as long as you're getting it. And then, of course, the spiritual side, which, like I already said, is we feel is the most important. And we provide that. We have Bibles that we use right along with the Combat Trauma Healing Manual and War Comes Home Manual, First Responder Manual. They're, you know, on our phones, hard copy, whatever the case may be. But it's these manuals point towards the Bible, point towards verses, information, God talking to us to try to get us the help that we need to deal with this trauma that we've been through. And without Christ in there, I know I probably wouldn't be here right now, because suicide is a real thing. And I was one of those that was almost a statistic. So I highly recommend that if you have issues with combat trauma, know somebody that has issues with combat trauma, your spouse has combat trauma, military trauma, get them help. Get them to us, have them talk to me. If you would like to go to the When War Comes Home group, I can direct you to the person to talk to there to get into a good group and get support. Again, my phone number is 602-885-8901. My email address is apachedriverscott@hotmail.com. And my name is Scott Clark. I'm here to help you.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, just doing a phenomenal job. So you all heard it there today, just to kind of, you know, wrap it up, you know, hey, if you need the assistance, his phone is on, you know, 24/7, except when it's crapping out. They're there to help you. It's all free. 8 or 9 different groups in Arizona. Just call to get connected with one of those groups. I'm sure there's a group in your area. If not, there's Zoom meetings available. They'll give you books, not just for the veteran, but for the spouses as well, and also for military and first responders. Man, Scott, awesome job. I can definitely tell why you have a passion for this. Certainly thank you for your service and everything that you've done for us, sir.
Thank you.
So again, like I said, everybody, we're putting out these videos. These are great resources to have out here. Definitely, like I said, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, get this individual's, information out. Scott, what was the name of the organization again? I'm gonna spell that out real quick. What is it?
His Venture, HISVENTURE, His Venture.
Okay, perfect. I'll link to everything that he said in the description. Hey, if you all need help, veterans out there, you have help, you have support. You got people like Scott out here, 24/7 getting it done. 24/7 is the type of people I like to deal with because, again, when it comes to supporting veterans and you get that call, for me, there is no tomorrow. When that veteran needs assistance, we need to give them assistance right then and there. So again,
Correct.
Time for Talk, Just Time for Action podcast. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.